You might have seen this Sydney Sweeney bath soap thing. Basically, it was 5,000 bars of soap that were made with her bathwater. The 5,000 bars of soap, I don't even know what they charge for them. It doesn't matter for a company of that size. They could have charged $1,000 for every bar of soap. It would have been $5 million. It probably wouldn't make that big of a difference for that size company. You just have to have context here. They probably paid Sydney Sweeney more than $5 million. What they did get is me and you and all of the other internet talking about this.
I have to ask you about the soap. People on the internet I saw some people say anything that'll make men shower.
I mean, honestly though.
Before we jump in, hit that subscribe button right now, because this situation is spiraling fast and the drama is only getting messier by the minute. Now let's talk about what's really going on here, because Sydney Sweeney's career has taken a sharp turn that nobody saw coming. Reports say her newest movie opened to one of the weakest debut weekends in recent memory, pulling in just over $1 million, and that alone raised eyebrows everywhere. That makes 3 releases this year that seriously underperformed, and it gets even stranger. Her co-star reportedly skipped press entirely, while an official account tied to the White House appeared to publicly support her online, which sent the internet into full confusion mode. Just a few years back, Sydney was everywhere. From breakout fame on Euphoria to huge movie roles and brand deals stacked back to back, she looked unstoppable. But 2025 hit different, and her latest project, Christie, reportedly made box office history for all the wrong reasons, crashing with a jaw-dropping 91% drop in its second weekend. Before that, Eden pulled in about $2.5 million against a massive $35 million budget, and Americana barely cleared $500,000. 3 rough releases in a row is not a good look, and the pressure is clearly building, and the numbers aren't even the wildest part. Sydney's name keeps popping up in viral controversies, including a headline-grabbing promo where she allegedly sold soap rumored to contain her bathwater.
Oh, you dirty little boys. Are you interested in my body? Wash? Well, you can't have it. Because this isn't for boys, it's for men.
Whether it was a publicity stunt, a bold marketing move, or just internet chaos doing what it does best, one thing's clear: her name hasn't stopped trending for a second. And yeah, that alone had the internet buzzing nonstop, but just when things seemed heated enough, the American Eagle jeans campaign dropped and chaos followed immediately. The visuals sparked heavy online debate, with some people accusing Sydney Sweeney of pushing controversial messaging, while others rushed to defend her and call the backlash a reach. Then things took a sharp political turn. Around the same time, reports surfaced claiming Sydney had registered as a Republican back in June 2024, right ahead of the national election. That detail alone lit up social media timelines everywhere. Not long after, Donald Trump reportedly mentioned her in a tweet, and J.D. Vance even brought her name up during a podcast discussion. Within days, tech insiders and political commentators started labeling Sydney as a symbol of right-wing culture online, whether she asked for that spotlight or not. And through all of this, total silence. No interviews, no public statements, no clarifications, nothing at all for months. That silence split public opinion straight down the middle. Some critics threw harsh political labels her way, while others elevated her into a full-blown cultural figure. But behind the noise, one real question kept coming up louder than ever. Is Sydney Sweeney's career actually in danger, or is she being pulled into something way bigger than any single movie role? And believe it or not, it all circles back to that now infamous bathwater story. In May 2025, Sydney reportedly teamed up with a men's soap brand called Dr. Squat to release a limited edition bar said to include water from a bathtub used during production. Only 5,000 bars were made, and they sold out instantly, sending the internet into yet another meltdown. And it didn't stop there, because resale listings started popping up online for over $1,000 per bar, which instantly pushed this thing into viral territory. The brand framed the whole rollout as tongue-in-cheek marketing, but they also confirmed the product itself was very real, and that sent reactions through the roof. The response was explosive. Some commentators argued the campaign sent the wrong message about how women are treated in media, while others brushed that off and called it a smart, high-impact business move that did exactly what it was supposed to do: grab attention. Eventually, Sydney Sweeney broke her silence in an interview with Wall Street Journal, standing firmly by the creative decision and explaining the idea in her own words. According to Sydney, much of the backlash came from women, which she said genuinely surprised her. She also pointed out that people had previously joked about wanting bathwater from Jacob Elordi after his now viral Saltburn scene, suggesting there might be a double standard happening right in front of everyone. That comment only added fuel to the debate. Some viewers felt she was calling out hypocrisy, while others thought she was deflecting criticism, and the internet definitely didn't calm down after that. To be fair, selling bathwater products isn't new. Influencer Belle Delphine famously did something similar years ago, but audiences clearly reacted differently this time. Belle built her entire image around shock-first marketing, but Sydney had been seen in a completely different lane. An Emmy-nominated actress from one of the most acclaimed shows on television. With her own production company and serious film roles, this move caught a lot of fans off guard. Then July hit, and things escalated again. American Eagle dropped its fall campaign featuring Sydney, using the tagline, "Sydney Sweeney has great genes," which initially sounded like a clever play on words, but once a behind-the-scenes clip started circulating, everything shifted. In the video, Sydney reportedly explained that genes are passed down from parents to offspring, shaping traits like hair color, eye color, and personality. And suddenly, the conversation online took a very different turn. Then came the line that really set things off. Sydney Sweeney looked straight into the camera and added, "My genes are blue," and within minutes, the internet exploded with reactions. Some users took the phrase literally and accused the ad of referencing genetic ideas in a way that felt uncomfortable to them, while others pushed back hard and said it was nothing more than a harmless pun that got blown way out of proportion. The divide online was immediate and loud. Soon after, online commentators, and even a few university academics, jumped into the conversation, suggesting the campaign may have unintentionally echoed sensitive genetic imagery often debated in advertising history. That alone made the backlash feel more serious than a typical brand controversy. In response, American Eagle stepped in to clarify that the ad was meant to be playful, lighthearted, and strictly fashion-focused, with no political or social messaging attached at all. But by then, the conversation had already taken on a life of its own. Some critics went as far as comparing the visuals to old propaganda-style imagery, while a segment from MSNBC framed the moment as part of a broader cultural shift toward traditional beauty standards, which only reignited debate even more. What really poured gasoline on the fire, though, was how closely viewers felt the campaign mirrored a classic Calvin Klein ad from the 1980s featuring Brooke Shields. That original campaign faced heavy criticism at the time because of concerns around age and messaging, and the internet quickly drew comparisons. In Sydney's case, she was recreating a similar concept as a grown adult, but the genes versus jeans wordplay made some viewers feel the reference carried a darker tone than intended. Whether fair or not, that connection spread fast. Within days, American Eagle quietly removed the video from its official social media pages. Still, the brand didn't issue a formal apology, only releasing a short statement saying the campaign was, and always had been, about the genes. Her genes, her story. And through all of it, Sydney said nothing. No posts, no explanations, no pushback, just silence, while the controversy kept growing louder by the day. No interviews, no comments, no explanations, absolutely nothing at all. But that silence didn't slow the speculation for even a second, because online communities immediately went into full detective mode. People began digging through public records and claimed they uncovered information suggesting Sydney Sweeney had registered as a Republican in Florida on June 14, 2024. Not years ago, but just months before the national election, which made the timing feel impossible to ignore. Around that same time, reports also surfaced saying she had purchased a home in Florida, and that detail only intensified the online conversation about her political identity. Suddenly, what started as a fashion campaign was being read through a completely different lens. That's when the situation took a sharp political turn. A high-profile political figure was asked about the ad during an interview and reportedly praised it, openly stating that if Sydney was registered as a Republican, then the commercial was fantastic. That comment alone pushed the controversy into an entirely new spotlight. Not long after, another senior political voice discussed the situation on a podcast, joking that people were overreacting and unfairly labeling anyone who found Sydney attractive as extremists. That moment flipped the narrative yet again and sent social media into another frenzy. What began as a brand campaign had officially turned into a nationwide cultural debate. And just when it seemed like things couldn't escalate any further, another unexpected twist hit. Prominent tech figures, people who usually avoid celebrity drama altogether, suddenly started posting about Sydney nonstop. Venture capitalists and startup leaders began sharing her images, analyzing her interviews, and turning her into a symbol of what they described as pushback against modern culture norms. These weren't entertainment bloggers or fan accounts. They were serious industry power players. And yet, they were now deeply invested in the conversation surrounding Sydney's image. And through all of it, she stayed completely silent. No statements, no reactions, no damage control. Until finally, in November, GQ sat down with Sydney for an on-camera interview. And that moment became the first time she truly addressed everything head-on. She repeated that she did a jeans ad, that she was shocked by the reaction, and that she genuinely just loves jeans. No political statements, no deeper explanations, just the same calm message over and over again. Sydney also explained that she hadn't been following the online controversy closely because she was busy filming Euphoria, adding that she doesn't bring her phone onto set. That detail instantly split opinions online. Some viewers felt the response sounded carefully rehearsed, while others jumped to her defense, saying she had every right to stay out of political debates altogether. Either way, the internet had plenty to say about it. But what happened next made the situation even messier. After the interview aired, several of the same tech power players shifted their focus, not onto Sydney, but onto the journalist herself. Screenshots of the article began circulating, with critics calling the tone unfair and the questions loaded. Clips from the interview were turned into memes, sparking yet another wave of online arguing and side-taking. One prominent tech billionaire posted about the exchange multiple times, which many people found ironic. A powerful industry figure publicly targeting a journalist over a celebrity interview didn't sit right with everyone, and that only widened the debate. The moment perfectly showed how one celebrity controversy can spiral into a massive cultural firestorm, pulling in tech leaders, media figures, and online communities all at once. And here's where things took an even darker turn. While cultural debates dominated timelines, Sydney's movies were quietly struggling at the box office. Her film Americana dropped in August and reportedly earned under $500,000, and soon after came Eden, a project with a production budget around $35 million that is said to have lost more than $30 million after release. The contrast was impossible to ignore. Non-stop online attention on one side and serious financial losses on the other. Finally, in November, her sports drama Christie hit theaters, pulling in around $1.3 million during its opening weekend, and this was supposed to be the big one. This wasn't just another role for Sydney Sweeney, it was positioned as her serious awards contender. Sydney reportedly trained relentlessly for the part, gaining weight and working closely with professional boxing coaches to portray real-life fighter Christy Martin. Critics actually praised her performance, calling it one of her most committed transformations yet, and highlighting the physical and emotional discipline she brought to the screen. But despite the strong reviews, audiences didn't show up. The film opened in over 2,000 theaters and still failed to cross the $2 million mark, followed by a brutal 91% drop the very next weekend, one of the sharpest declines in recent box office history. That's when industry analysts really started connecting the dots. Some suggested that months of nonstop online controversy may have quietly damaged her appeal with general audiences. Fans who once rallied behind her during her Euphoria breakout era appeared far less excited about her recent projects. Several commentators pointed to the bathwater promotion and the American Eagle campaign as clear turning points, moments where public conversation shifted away from her acting and toward internet spectacle instead. At the same time, the online figures who had loudly defended her didn't seem to translate that energy into ticket sales either. Their support stayed mostly digital, creating what many described as a visibility trap. Sydney's name was everywhere, trending, debated, dissected, yet fewer people were actually buying movie tickets by the end of the year. She had become a symbol in cultural arguments, but not necessarily a draw at the box office anymore. Commentators began calling her situation one of Hollywood's most confusing career pivots, a mix of viral fame, online division, and slipping returns where attention didn't equal support. And to make things even more complicated, reports also claimed there was tension between Sydney and some of her Euphoria co-stars, allegedly leading her to skip joint press appearances for season 3. A rising star surrounded by noise, headlines, and debate, but facing the hardest question of all, where does her career go from here? The exact reason behind the tension still isn't officially confirmed, and that uncertainty is what keeps the speculation alive. Online chatter suggests it may involve differences in how public figures choose to engage with social and cultural issues. Zendaya has been vocal about social causes, while Sydney Sweeney has largely tried to stay neutral, a strategy that so far hasn't fully satisfied either side of the internet. In earlier interviews, Sydney openly said that Hollywood paychecks aren't what they used to be. She explained that brand deals help cover expenses and that taking long breaks from work isn't always realistic for actors anymore. That honesty sparked another wave of debate when media outlets later reported that she's worth tens of millions and owns multiple properties, leaving people questioning her motivations behind certain controversial marketing choices. By December, Sydney finally addressed the situation in People magazine, stating clearly, "I'm against hate," and adding that many of the labels attached to her simply aren't true. Still, she chose not to define her political or personal views, keeping her public image wrapped in ambiguity and making her one of Hollywood's most talked about question marks. She also never directly broke down the American Eagle controversy, only saying that her intentions were misunderstood. But by the time she spoke up, many believed the narrative had already solidified and the damage to her image may have already been done. Now all eyes are on her next move. Her upcoming film, The Housemaid, is set to release later this month and is expected to compete directly with the new Avatar installment, a tough matchup by any standard. Industry insiders say the timing alone could make it difficult to turn things around at the box office. Some analysts believe Sydney is standing at a true career crossroads. She has the talent, fame, and resources to keep thriving, but her image has become more tied to online controversy than to her performances. So what happens next? Does she bounce back with a hit, step away for a reset, or pivot into something completely different? And now I want to hear from you. Do you think Sydney Sweeney has been misunderstood, or did the controversies go too far? Can she turn things around with her next project, or is this a bigger shift in her career? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video if you enjoyed the breakdown. And I'll see you on the next one.